What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video it's a little bit different. I'm going to show you how to assemble AN style hoses with basic home tools. Most of this stuff you can get at your local Walmart or like supply stores. Check it out. Alright, so most of you are familiar with AN style hoses. It's a mil-spec type of plumbing that the automotive industry has adopted over the years. It's very, very common or prevalent in force induction and performance applications, and there's a good chance if you're building anything worthwhile you're going to plumb it with some sort of AN style hose somewhere on your vehicle. What we're doing is assembling these hoses. It's a two-piece style fitting, a swivel fitting, which I highly recommend. It's a lot easier to work with, and you actually disassemble the fitting, slide your hose up over it, and then you thread it on, and it creates a really, really good leak-free seal. This is the style of fitting I'm talking about here. This one is a tight radius -8 90-degree fitting, and this is obviously the female side. What happens is that when you initially see it, this is threaded all the way down here. You want to take this off, slide your hose up over this edge, but this is going to go onto your hose first, and then you're going to slide it up together and tighten this down. You're going to pull the hose inward and open up, allowing it to seal really, really well. The tools you need to do this, a lot of people will use AN wrenches, which are really nice, AN fitting vices, which allow you to clamp these things in a vise because these are typically aluminum and they're very easy to mar up or scratch and damage. What I'm going to show you is how to do it with tools you can get at Walmart, maybe Harbor Freight, for example, like an angle grinder. I got this one at Lowe's, but this is just used to cut the hose down. We're not actually going to cut any hose in this video, but what you do when you do cut it, once you get it to your desired length, for example, this is already where I need it to be. To cut this, I wrapped it with 3M electrical tape, maybe 5 or 6 times around, and then I cut in the dead center of that electrical tape, and it really helps to avoid fraying. After you get your hose to your desired length, you need to assemble it. So to do that, you have to have a couple things. First and foremost, WD-40. What I like to do is once I have it ready to slide on, I will lubricate both this right here and inside the actual hose end. Now, to assemble this thing at home without the AN tools that you typically see on like the higher end builds and stuff like that, I've got 2 brand new Stanley adjustable wrenches. I just got these. I really like the Stanley ones. They're like 10 bucks a piece at Walmart because they don't have as much deflection when you tighten this down, and I don't see it move as much as like a cheaper, like, you know, Universal or like Harbor Freight style wrench. These are nothing crazy. Like I said, 20 bucks for the pair of these. You just got to make sure you have ones that have a big enough throat on them to go around any size fitting that you're going to use in your application. Now all we're going to do is, my hose is already set to length, so I'm going to take some WD-40. I'm going to spray the end of this fitting here. I'm going to spray the inside of my hose just a little bit. Just kind of get it around. If you get it everywhere, it's hard to work with because then your hands will slip as well. Because these are swivel, I don't have to worry about the orientation. Once it's tightened down, I can rotate this, and it's a lot easier to fix it. These hoses are going to have a natural bend to them because they've been packaged and shipped in a box, and they're going to be rolled up in like a tight roll. Thankfully, with the swivel ends, you don't have to worry so much about how it's going to land on your fitting, whether it's like a fuel pump or a return or whatever. In this case, it's a fuel return. So I got my WD-40 on here, and it's going to slide on like that. But before you do that, you have to take the outside part of the fitting that you threaded off and get it over the end of this hose. You got to be careful because these braided edges, especially on the all steel hoses, they will really tear up your fingertips. But you just want to make sure that none of them are sitting straight up so they don't catch the edge of this fitting. And then I'm just going to take it and kind of like work it in here like this. Now once I get it started, I just grab it here and I just push and twist it until it bottoms out. So the hose has slid all the way up inside this end of the fitting. Once you get that all the way bottomed out, twist it around a couple times. You can't really do it too much. And you can start with this fitting here. You just take this and just make sure it goes straight in. Don't do anything too crazy because you don't want to strip these aluminum fittings. And just run it down, and you'll feel the threads engage. Now one thing you want to do before you go any further than this, and this is something I just like to do, is I'll take a little bit of blue painter's tape, mostly because it's relatively inexpensive, and I'll wrap it around here because I know that my hose is bottomed out all the way in this. The reason I'm doing this is so that I can see if it moves. As we thread this end of the fitting in, it's going to try to pull this nut off a little bit, and as long as we have a tape line here, we'll be able to tell if this fitting has moved in that direction at all. Now then, thread this in, and I like to go as far as I can by hand before I have to add the wrenches into the mix. Just get it pretty close. And you can see it hasn't moved at all. Before you assemble the hose, you want to run some tape on both sides. Now if you've already got your fittings scratched up, or they're old or they're reused or whatever, and you don't care, save yourself a little bit of time. Now I'm going to wrap this side and I'm going to wrap this side just to keep it from the wrenches tearing it up. Alright, so now I got them in place. Now if you do have a vise, it's a lot easier, but most people don't, and that's okay. That's the whole reason I'm filming this video. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to get it shrunk down to the appropriate size, and there's no rush, there's no race to do this, just slowly tighten them. So I got this one to the right size, And I'm just gonna twist it like that. Now you can see my hose is twisting, so I can tighten this side instead. We're almost there. I was always told to leave about the thickness of a credit card between the two fittings. Now, as we're tightening this down, it's pulling upwards and flaring out that rubber hose. It's like this, and it's moving up over. It's expanding the hose and forcing it to stay tight. And it's tedious, especially if you plumb a whole system like this, you're gonna be pissed. It's gonna take you a long time. Now I'm just gonna double check and look at my hose because I haven't looked for a second. And you can see my fitting is there and my tape is right there. So it really hasn't moved at all. It may have pulled up a little tiny bit, but that's okay. A little bit of movement's not a big deal. You just don't wanna see it go up a lot. So now that I'm at that spot, I'm gonna pull all of my tape off my fittings. Pull that off. And there you go. Come back over here, swivel this back into place and do a nice little test fit. And there we go. That's how you can assemble AN fittings with some typical, normal, everyday tools. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the AN fitting video. I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope this helps. Peace out.